America is built on legends of freedom, but hidden in its shadows are stories never meant to be told. Tonight, one of those stories will find you. I used to take the same road home every night after closing up the bar. An old back highway, winding through the hills and cutting past long-forgotten farmland. Years ago, it had been a main route, but now most people avoided it, choosing the newer freeway instead. For me, it was just routine. Quiet, familiar, and a little faster. That night was calm. Cool air drifted through my window, carrying the smell of wet asphalt from a recent rain. The radio played softly, a jazz station, the host's voice barely above a whisper as he talked about musicians from decades ago. Everything felt normal, almost peaceful, until the fog rolled in. It came down from the hills like a flood of smoke, swallowing the road and the trees on either side. My headlights could barely cut through it, leaving only a pale tunnel of white ahead of me. The forest I knew so well was gone, replaced by shifting shadows. And then I saw it. A faint, flickering yellow light in the fog. At first, I thought it was a hazard light, maybe a stranded car. But the longer I watched it, the stranger it became. The light didn't move closer. It didn't fall behind. It stayed perfectly in place, keeping pace with my car as if it were attached to me. I sped up, it stayed. I slowed down, it stayed. My stomach turned to ice. It was like being followed by something that wasn't really there. The light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat in the mist. Finally, I pulled over, thinking maybe I could get a better look. The instant I shifted into park, my engine died. No sputter, no warning. It just cut off. And then my phone, fully charged an hour ago, went black in my hand. That's when the light grew brighter. It swelled until it filled the fog, so bright it burned through my eyelids when I squeezed them shut. Heat pressed against my face, searing but silent. There was no sound, no hum of electricity, no crackle, just the blinding, unnatural glow. And then it exploded. A burst of white swallowed everything. The road, the trees, the inside of my car. When my vision finally cleared, the light was gone. The fog was still there, but the road ahead was empty. With shaking hands, I turned the key. The engine roared to life immediately, like nothing had happened. The radio hummed back on, still playing its soft jazz tune. I didn't dare look in the rearview mirror. I just pressed the gas and drove until I saw the lights of home. But even now, years later, sometimes when I'm driving down a lonely road at night, I catch it again. A faint yellow flicker in the distance, following me. Waiting. I've been driving long haul for more than 20 years. I've seen accidents, robberies, strange weather, even things I still can't explain. But there's one road out here in the States that no trucker likes to take at night. An old highway once busy, now mostly abandoned. It's shorter, sure, but it feels cursed. That night I was hauling a full load through the hills. The sky was clear, the road dry, and I expected nothing unusual. But in my mirror, I caught sight of a dark SUV. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe another late-night driver. But soon I realized it was matching my every move. I sped up. It sped up. I slowed down. It slowed down. It never tried to pass, never fell back. I just hovered in the distance, keeping perfect rhythm with me. My nerves tightened. Trucks are targets out here. I've heard plenty of stories about hijackers, thieves. Worse, the SUV was beginning to feel less like a driver and more like a shadow. I pulled into a rest stop. Just a cracked asphalt lot with a couple of dead streetlights buzzing overhead. I cut the engine, stepped out, and stretched my legs, pretending not to look at the SUV. It pulled in behind me, sat for a long moment, and then, without warning, whipped around and disappeared back into the fog. I stood there smoking a cigarette, staring after it unsettled. Eventually, I climbed back into the cab. It was nearly midnight, and I decided to grab some rest before continuing. Sleeping in the truck isn't new to me, but that night, sleep came heavy and uneasy. The silence of that empty rest stop pressed in on me. I woke to a sound, a faint metallic scrape. My heart kicked up as I leaned forward to the mirror. Two men stood at the back of my trailer. One knelt at the locks with tools in his hands. The other waved a flashlight, not for light, but as if he was signaling someone out on the road. I slammed my hand onto the horn. The blast shattered the night, echoing through the lot. Both men froze, then bolted into the trees. And just then, I saw it again. The SUV, that same dark vehicle, headlights flashing once before vanishing back into the mist. I called the cops. 20 minutes later, a patrol car arrived. The officers found fresh marks on one of the locks, scratches deep and raw, like someone had been working it hard. But the lock itself held. One of the officers shook his head. "You're lucky. Gangs run these old roads at night. They box in trucks, use decoys, fake signals. Sometimes they disappear drivers and whole loads without a trace." I just nodded, gripping the wheel, though my mind was elsewhere. Because for me, it wasn't just thieves. I remembered the SUV's headlights cutting through the fog. The same rhythm, the same unnatural timing. Just like the stories I'd heard from other drivers, stories I never believed until that night. On that road, the shadows don't just follow you, they hunt you. I've always loved night drives. There's something about the empty highway, the hum of the engine, and the cool air rushing in through the window that makes the world feel like it belongs only to you. That night, I was behind the wheel of my BMW M3, my dream car, finally mine. The freeway was wide open, and I felt untouchable. After a while, I decided to leave the main highway and cut down one of the old back roads. They've always fascinated me. Quiet, forgotten, lined with trees that lean in like they're eavesdropping. The deeper I drove, the darker it became. The road swallowed my headlights, leaving me with only the steady growl of the engine for company. Then I saw it. Sitting dead center in the middle of the road was a shopping cart. Just standing there. Its metal frame was crooked, rusted, one wheel twisted sideways. But it didn't belong here, not on a deserted back road miles away from any town. I slammed the brakes, tires screeching. My chest tightened as I sat staring at it. Who put it there? Why? Curiosity got the better of me. I stepped out of the car, the night air colder than I expected. The forest around me was silent, too silent. I circled the cart, trying to convince myself it was just a prank, maybe some kids messing around. But when I saw the handle, my stomach dropped, deep scratch marks, like someone had been gripping it too hard. And that's when I heard them. Footsteps. Two figures stepped out of the tree line, melting out of the darkness like they'd been waiting for me. They were tall, lean, wrapped in oversized clothing that swallowed their features. I froze, my pulse hammering. Then they moved. One lunged toward me. I bolted back into my car, slamming the door just in time. The other figure crashed into the passenger side with a sickening thud, denting the metal, smearing something dark across the glass. I didn't think. I just floored it. The BMW roared. The cart flew off into the ditch, and in the rear view I saw one of them crumpled on the asphalt, twisting unnaturally. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. By the time I hit the main highway, I noticed it. Streaks of blood across the door. A jagged dent punched deep into the metal. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the wheel. When I pulled into my driveway, my father stormed outside. His face twisted with anger when he saw the damage. "What the hell did you do to the car?" I tried to explain. The cart, the figures, the attack. But he just shook his head, disbelief in his eyes. To him, it was nothing more than a reckless excuse. The next morning, I called the police. I'd told them everything. Their reply was cold, almost dismissive. "There's nothing out there, no evidence. No cart, no blood, nothing. But I know what I saw. I know what hit my car. And I can't shake the thought that maybe I killed someone that night. Or maybe it wasn't someone at all. Because just before it happened, right before the figures appeared, I swear I saw it again. That faint yellow flicker in the fog, pulsing like a heartbeat. The same light other drivers whispered about. The same light that never really leaves you once you've seen it. They say that old highway used to be alive once. Every day, thousands of cars thundered down its cracked asphalt, cutting through the forests and hills. But then came the accidents, the disappearances, the stories no one could explain. And slowly, drivers abandoned it. A new freeway was built, and the old road was left to rot under the weight of fog and silence. But the ones who still take it at night, they tell the same stories. Some speak of a yellow light in the mist, faint at first, but pulsing in time with their heartbeat, always following, never leaving. Others whisper about a dark SUV that mirrors every move, slipping in and out of the fog like a predator stalking its prey. And some swear they've seen figures waiting by the roadside, faceless shadows who step into the headlights only when you're too close to turn back. No one knows what's real. Maybe it's thieves, maybe it's drifters, maybe it's something older, something tied to the road itself. All anyone knows is this. Once you've seen the light, once you've been hunted on that stretch of highway, you never leave it the same. So if you ever find yourself driving that way on a lonely night, grip the wheel tight, don't slow down, and whatever you do, don't stop. Because on that road, not everything waiting in the fog wants you to make it home. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next story about the dark secrets of America.